So until they get him in there consistently and guys can figure out what their roles are around them, I'm going to hold off judgment. But I still think they'll be okay as long as he can come back at some point and be healthy.
And unfortunately, their offense has been competing in the worst categories, neck and neck with the Lakers.
The 30th, right?
30th and 29th. The Lakers lost 2 more games this weekend to fall to 2-7 on the year. Anthony Davis was quiet in both second halves, only scoring 2 points after halftime on Friday and Sunday's losses to the Jazz and the Cavs. AD didn't speak to the media after the Lakers lost last night, but plenty of the conversation post-game still surrounded about him.
I don't know whose primary job is to do that, to be honest. I leave that up to the coaches to figure out the best way for them to, utilize. But when I'm in, I do the best job I can, and making the right reads. Try to make the game easy for him when I'm in.
He's got my blessing to scream out and call his own number. We try to get him going, try to get Brian going on some post actions and some step ups and pick and roll stuff. And, it's just, it's not like we're not trying.
We're all trying to, maneuver through and see what best suits every individual, to better the team. And obviously it starts with AD, and getting him more touches and things of that nature. But obviously offensively it's each game has its own challenges to start the season. But our focal point is and should always be to make sure he touches the ball.
Interesting thoughts from the Lakers cohort, and it's really interesting considering how, finally get Russ going, and then now we have a problem with another teammate. Ramona, how concerned should Lakers fans be about Anthony Davis right now?
Yeah, I remember in the preseason when Darvin Ham had said this offense is going to run through Anthony Davis, we're going to go as he goes. So in the last 2 games, he's averaging 18 points a game in the first half and 2 points a game in the second half. That's because he's not getting touches. In the first half of those last 2 games, 77 touches. In the second half of those games, 47 touches. That's basically half. You got to get the big guy the ball. You got to play through him. Now, Darvin's answer was interesting because it's more complex than that. Are they getting him the ball? Is he calling for the ball? Darvin said he's got my blessing to call his own name. Okay, so is this the system? Is this his teammates? That's the issue they got to solve, but clearly he's frustrated. And when AD doesn't go, the Lakers fell off the cliff. I mean, they were leading that game against the Cavs. It had all the makings of a beautiful Sunday matinee for them. And then they fell apart in the second half.
And look, Anthony Davis, at the beginning of the year, there were a couple of things that were talked about. One, the offense is going to run through him, and then also that he wanted to play all 82 games. And, I know he missed a game because of his back, but what I have seen from Anthony Davis is he is going out there and giving every ounce of effort that we have seen. We know, Matt knows, there's no way to play 82 games and be 100% healthy. Nope. That's impossible. So for Anthony Davis to say, look, I'm going to go do all of this. Now, the next side of that, if you guys are going to play through me and I'm going to go give you my all, you got to hold up your end of the bargain because I'm going out there not playing 100%, making sure that I am available for the team, but you also got to reward the big fella. Like they say, you got to feed him the ball.
100% because we don't bring the ball up the floor. Matt, do you think that Anthony Davis's, the last few games, that downward trajectory is linked to any of the confidence that finally Russ has found his game?
I don't think so. I just think it's just more of I want him to be more aggressive and want the ball. Get 3 seconds in the key paint or calls in a row. Give me the ball. You know what I mean? We think about great power forwards, and he, to me, is a great power forward. They don't go through lulls like this of not getting the ball. They demand the ball, period. They're going to get the ball, period. So, to me, the teammates have to be smart enough to know, hey, we got to go through this guy, but he has to demand it.
And I will say that as a part of this millennial generation, that is hard for us to do as, a current player, to just go out there and say, I want to just be that person that gets the ball. I do think it's a little bit more normal for the older school type of players, but you're this good, Anthony Davis. Demand the ball. They need you.
Okay. And some of it's pace, okay? They slowed
and
down.
Personality, true.
The Cavs, when they made that adjustment at halftime, they said, we're getting killed in the paint. We're not going to let the ball go in the paint, so he's got to
But to win, you need to have
him. He loves to go outside, though.
Yeah, shout out Evan Mobley and Jared Allen doing a good job.
Okay.
We want to discredit the Cavs. Last thing I'll say is that what I like that you brought up, Matt, is you was like, There were big fellas back in the day. They would stand in the paint and get a 3 seconds.
man.
Yeah, that is true.
You're not gonna give me the ball?
Purposely.
That is true.
3 seconds.
That
3
is
seconds,
true.
fine.
Give me the
Okay,
ball.
turnover. We got to go back down. And then they would
How
go
would Shaq
back.
do it?
They
How
would
would
go
Shaq
back
do
to the paint and they would stand there like
That
this.
is true.
If you don't
Shaq
throw
will
me the
hurt
ball, it's gonna
somebody.
get a 3 seconds.
Yeah, or
I respect that.
That's true.
That was
is
old
true.
school right there. It's like, oh, if I'm not gonna touch it, ain't nobody. There's no offense here.
He's too good
I
to
know
go
that.
through lulls in the second half where he's not touching
But he
the
should
ball.
do
Like
it.
he needs to slap someone in the locker room or whatever he needs to do. Like I need the ball. I'm not kidding because like we know this team's gonna go as he goes. Period.
Yeah.
Like he needs a little bit more.
You're not sly,
Anyway.
Richard. I see you using every segment to advance your Cavs agenda. And I'm here for this.
It's the truth.
I am
Can
here.
we shout
I
out
am
Jared
here for
Allen
it.
and Evan
Great
Mobley for doing a
adjustments.
good
I'm
job?
proud of them.
I'm
And
proud
they
of
do
you.
a good job
You're doing your
on
thing.
Anthony
You're
Davis.
doing your
Like,
thing.
why are we just going to talk about the Lakers
Look,
touches?
it was
The Cavs are
59-52 at halftime.
Thank you.
No, you're
59
right. Demand the
points
ball.
in
We're
the
here
first
for you, Anthony Davis.
Evan
But-
Mobley and Jared
but
Allen did a
still
good
to
job.
come.
He's
Still
too
to
good.
come on
He's too
NBA
good.
Today. You see our passion. We make slower starts than anticipated. It's time to check in on the state of California, with the exception of the Kings. Sorry, Matt Barnes, and sorry, Kings. Right now, we're going to press pause and evaluate if it's still too early to panic or if we sound the alarm, there is real cause for concern. Let's start with the defending champs. The Warriors lost their 5th straight game over the weekend and now are just 3-7, 10 games into the season. Golden State is still winless away from the Chase Center. In fact, the Warriors are the first defending champion to start 0-6 on the road in NBA history. Here's Klay Thompson on the Warriors' recent slide.
Seemed like a road trip from hell, but we're all very grateful to get home in one piece and hopefully start a win streak here. How good we are in this building. So I think we're going to be off to a fresh start come tomorrow.
A year ago, we lost 9 out of 11 games in March and won the championship a couple months later. So there are just times in the NBA season where things can go off the rails a little bit. And a big part of being a great team, being a solid organization is just understanding how to sort of work through that.
Now we welcome in Warriors reporter Kendra Andrews. Kendra, Klay called it the road trip from hell, but he seemed pretty chill there. But Steve Kerr doesn't seem that concerned. What do the Warriors think their biggest problem is?
Yeah, Shanae, Steve Kerr said that boxing out and fouling are the Warriors' biggest issues right now. And Kerr explained to me why those are kind of the catalyst for a lot of the Warriors' other issues. The Warriors are ranked 26th in defensive rebounding. And so Steve Kerr says when we fail to box out, they end up fouling. So not only are they giving up free points at the line, but now the Warriors are forced into a half-court offense. They can't play out in transition or push the pace that usually makes them such a lethal offensive team. And since they're less efficient on offense, they're having to play defense in transition, but they're allowing the 5th most points in transition. So then when they get frazzled on defense, they end up fouling, and they start this cycle over again, and they're really not able to break out of it right now.
Yeah, it is a domino effect, and you mentioned it. The Warriors are #1 in the NBA in fouls, so they have to change that. But what are they planning on doing to fix whatever issues they have?
Yeah, well, the first change that they're going to make, Steve Kerr says, is with his rotation. And he said that Jonathan Kuminga in particular will now be a part of this new rotation. And Shanae, Kuminga was a DNP in 3 of the Warriors' last 6 games. But this is just the first change that they're going to make. Steve Kerr says more is on the horizon, but he wouldn't specify what those changes are. He also wouldn't say where Kuminga is going to be getting his minutes, or I should say who he will be taking minutes from.
Thanks so much, Kendra. We will keep an eye on the rotations in Golden State. Now we are back with Ramona, Richard, and Matt. And Richard, Kendra just outlined a litany of issues for the defending champs. But what's your take on the biggest concern for Golden State right now?
No. I think their biggest concern is their level of defense or lack thereof. And this is an elite Warriors team that we have seen be elite now for, 8 years that we have seen this. And so, but one thing that I also want to bring this up. Jordan Poole got paid. Andrew Wiggins got paid. There's, you know what I'm saying? So, and you're coming off a championship. So you got a lot of young players. And this is not to blame Wiggins. This is not to blame Poole. But I'm being serious. Is everyone playing with the same sense of urgency? Klay Thompson, rightfully so, did not work out a ton in the preseason just to protect himself. These are all very understandable things. But when you look at it as a collective, they have to get that chip on their shoulder. There was no doubt that Wiggins was locked in and motivated. Jordan Poole, their entire group, they were back to being that team, and now all of a sudden it's like they're comfortable, but maybe they forgot what it's like to be the hunted. That's what they are as a defending champion, and a lot of these guys are being the hunted for the very first time in their career.
Yeah, sometimes you call it championship hangover, but like if you're a defending champion, young player that just got paid, maybe 10 games in, you're like, okay, that's
There's like
It's a long season.
And I think that, real quick, I think they'll be better for this because they're figuring out who their young players are.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're not going to burn out Clay, Draymond, and Steph right now, so they're figuring out who these young players are, who's in the rotation, who's not. So this will pay off well towards the end of the
James
season.
Wiseman, Kuminga, both have struggled a lot this year, and they have an opportunity right now to play. But that's not that. You could have said the same thing about Jordan Poole 3 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
it's the law of averages. But sticking in California, the Clippers fell back to 500 on the year after losing to the Jazz last night, 110-102. Utah closed the fourth quarter on an 18-6 run to put the game away. The Clippers, who are still without Kawhi Leonard, rank dead last in terms of points per game, scoring over 4 points less than the 29th ranked Wizards. Now, bringing in Clippers reporter Om Young-Misuk. Om, what is the time frame for Kawhi's return to game action?
Chene, there is no time frame. Kawhi Leonard is going to miss his 8th straight game tonight when they face the Cavaliers. And Ty Lue was asked, is he day-to-day now or is he week-to-week? And he said right now there is no time frame. The biggest thing is that he has to go through testing with medical, and Ty called that the slow progression of him getting better every day. That part they are taking day-to-day, but they're not taking his return day-to-day. So I would look at one indicator. Last year, Marcus Morris played in the first 2 games and then had a knee issue that kept him out for a month. He missed 15 straight games. Perhaps the Clippers will do this with Kawhi Leonard. Just make sure that he is absolutely right for the long stretch for the postseason. And I will say this also, tonight they are going to be very shorthanded. They may not have a true point guard tonight against the Cavs. Reggie Jackson banged his knee last night. He limped out of the locker room. They're going to see his status for tonight. John Wall will not play in the second of a back-to-back. Luke Kennard also has chest discomfort. They don't know if he's going to play. Paul George may end up playing a lot of point guard tonight.
My goodness. Yeah, the injury bug seems like it's sort of hit the Clippers. Thank you so much, Om. It's really fascinating to see where they started in the conversation when the season started, championship aspirations, to now just trying to get a full, healthy roster on the floor. Now, Matt, the Clippers, their offense has struggled to score without Leonard. What is your biggest concern for Coach Ty Lue's team?
I think obviously just the health of Kawhi, and Richard can contest to this. You can move role players in and out, but when a star comes in, guys don't really know what their role is until they have a lot of time with this particular player. And Kawhi, this has been the season they're waiting for. Kawhi's going to be healthy this year. We're going to make our run. And I still think they can make a run. But I just think with Kawhi availability, uncertainty, guys really just have to figure out what their role is going to be. Last year, Ty Lue did a great job with these guys because they knew Kawhi wasn't playing the whole season. So guys were going out there in a different role, in a different capacity. This year, they're still implementing John Wall, trying to figure out what kind of player you're going to be from night in, night out. But I just think I'm going to hold judgment on this team until we get to see a stretch of Kawhi Leonard because we all know he's a game changer. He's a 2-time final